the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
And Yamahudo El Koso Ewu Sumwasi ye papa. In barely 6 months in power, Nyoma El Koso no Nyasam Ketwa. And Bibia Koso in the 5 northern regions here, in fact, the World Bank as an integral partner to this nation's development. I stand. Somewhere in February 2024, Enna Abayana Otiso Sabreno, His Excellency Nana Adodanko Kufuado, and His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, A.S. Sabi Hunu said Debi, the drought conditions in the 5 northern regions are not tiny, and no Bayan in Nyoma was sent free Hobano, and to me, now, some projected 600,000 farmers, together with their families, were going to face excessive hunger because of the severe drought conditions experienced in the 5 northern regions across this country. Northern, Savannah, Upper East, Upper West, and Northeast. And my finance minister then, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, Edukotum Rashebe Jenu say, Omaina Moa, now over 600,000 farmers and their families, more livelihoods, depending on the cultivation of rice, of maize, cowpea, and sorghum. Drought conditions in tea, Ebiani Amano, you bet to me and support them. In fact, Parliament Jitum, Emma Abino say, some 8 billion cedis should be made available as government support fund for program Omutu said drought relief program. Now, after Sagan Amrashebeja ajit this allocation of 8 billion cedis atumu, ebe address the impact of the dry spell on farmers or the drought relief program no. Abine will say feasibly. And now here no minor community no. We can only generate 5 billion cedis. So therefore, there's going to be a 3 billion cedis deficit. It was a buying the pekwan yobefa so obe raise ediaka 5 billion and man 8 billion. Now buying it to me edia funding the government support for the drought relief program. The sanity, the finance minister LED the delegation consult to our development partners. So now my dear friend, a contingency fund of 3 billion cedis. Near make 5 billion or near support to your Piafua and what the 5 northern regions move be facing adverse impact as a result of this drought. In fact, the World Bank, who happens to be one of Ghana's biggest development partners, in fact, FY raised 3 billion Ghana cedis. Edbeka abino 5 billion Ghana cedis. Emma 8 billion Ghana cedis are readily available for the drought relief program for over 600,000 farmers across the 5 northern regions. And buying through the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Agric, and other initiatives to say 1 village, 1 dam, planting for food and jobs. Say on the board right the 5 northern regions. No one kasa. I feasibility studies and who say. Or more or more enjoy this program no indeed or more qualify for it. To almost start to be registration for the drought relief program. Emma, in fact, all the necessary steps were taken. Buying it to me put to on paper. Every farmer or deal this support submit all the necessary information at the World Bank Ena fofi antoata yekoto abama aye sa aban no efri so now ansa no mo free so no na omo aye make sika omo di purchase various food items no mo de be support so kwiafo yi ti na be bags of maize, bags of rice, bags of beans, any bags of wheat and in your mind kaka ho na storing in our warehouse kama. And after the December 7 general elections, Ghana forward to Aba, editor the new Patriotic Party, in a new government, which is the NDC government, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. enti de na akuafo over 600,000 ya omo the final register hwe ni mu ni say ebra his excellency abeji akonwan de obeto ana monto a his excellency na da kwakufado ejato ho no so say de be won sa beka sa eye anioma na aboa ama omo abra bomu no ma setra mu nsam no in fact akoyi interestingly se mo beka ya na Ghana for won kaya sa drought relief items here his excellency na da kwakufado toku ho for these farmers no and no na his excellency John Dramani Mahama release part of it for the free senior high school policy brand and what aduanesem and one kwa atwe no se beka ya the kaya no na the World Bank and yakuafo no hwe ni mu say aban be release e de ama farmers a sa nyoma eye due dem ba wonim de asi asem wan asi ni say evidence have been provided that warehouses were ekura these drought relief items as at Monday, June 2nd, 2025. NDC party executives and party members at the Ghana card and the party card echo these warehouses, echo bags of maize, bags of rice, bags of beans. Now, TV3 News Savannah regional correspondent, your friend Christopher Mwako, Chirema, he was nearly assaulted by some of the branch executives when he questioned why the relief items meant for farmers were distributed to party boys of the NDC instead of the registered victims by the previous government. On one report to you, and I'm quoting him, or say, it took the timely intervention of some passerbys to save my life. This is what they told me. Yes, we are NDC party branch executives and party members, and we were called to come for bags of maize, rice, beans, etc. So what can you do about it? If you joke, we will beat you here and kill you, and nothing will happen to us because we are in power. And we will be backed by our executives. As at the time of filing this report, more than half of the relief items have been taken away from the storerooms. When I personally contacted Municipal Chief Executive for East Gonja, Kasim Yazid, he condemned the near attack on me, but maintained that the reason why they are sharing the items to their party faithfuls is that the data on the victims was actually missing, and that he directed the Municipal Agric Directorate to collect fresh data of farmers to do the distribution. He later denied that the items were distributed to NDC party executives. And I quote him, we cannot trace all we cannot trace all the data of farmers collected by the previous government. So I asked the agric officers to take fresh data and proceed with the distribution. Maybe they distributed and some remained, and they decided to consider party executives and party members. But what I know is that farmers were considered, he explained. Now, the World Bank is closely monitoring the turn of events, and I can reliably confirm that some directors of the World Bank, country directors, I must say, have been left stunned with the recent development. The way TV3 news correspondent, or one of the regions, your friend Christopher Mwakoneka, so the nani coach we say kohui. Say check drought relief items no dema NDC branch executives and the party members. Okoka nwa say on to be your foco, on becha yamomo, or diagra, on be kunato, be in see, because I'm buying the war. Akuyaso. Okobusa MC ya, our whole some MC can say. Data His Excellency Nana Danko Kufadu, and in buying collected on these affected farmers, ya or more, and the D Sefata say a chesanyo memo. Data naira. The ono MC, a catchre, the municipal agric director to say, or Monsanko, no monko quality data view. MC and to me, I follow up and say, or my collected data and also collected data. MC to ho at the so much nyoma. Or do I find say, a yakuafon in yetama. But data or no show be seen quality money and yana sell. Am I check more than half of the drought relief items at the DC party executives? Now, according to the reporter, World Bank country director say, "Oh my muti, won't you say taba because all to me contribute to 3 billion cedis. And fanko buying 5 billion cedis. And me and fanko ton yoma, Emma de Dikai, Mampenny piano man of fanko free senior high school. A bra or no ankasa na buy munko for and a bowra buffer stock warehouses. Every year, your man, na you meant for free senior high school policy. Oh money we are. And the numerous videos are online for everybody to attest to the fact. So more the bowra buffer stock in the north, buffer stock, omo bowra hokabrane, no mo bag so nesun. Dia bobo yachi beans bags in free buffer stock. The new one we are yenti. And then I was the president a fall on these drought relief items to subsidize for the shortage of food. Ya ne koso various senior high schools. And ne kakranwa kanwa yenchen farmer kuafo no so a. Omo che dem party executives, any branch executives. And they kuafo mo heavily affected by this drought. Ye ntia by ni gire wo ho kokra nyoma na ma wo mo a. Ya to omo agege mu. Ti wey and an interesting report from TV3's News Savannah Regional Correspondent Christopher Amuako on the current state of the 8 billion cedis drought relief items meant for over 600,000 farmers across the 5 northern regions. No more faces severe drought as a result of harsh weather conditions in 2024. Now I was a fool.
I've never been attentive like this in my life in a very long time.
This one, you're a good student.
Because I was shaken last night when I heard that behind the backs of Ghanaian people under the cover of darkness, when all of us were going to have our dinner, that was when we saw flyers that this wicked government has imposed a whooping 1 Ghana cedi on every liter of fuel that we buy. For proper context for the Ghanaian people, we understand fuel purchase in gallons. So I prefer to use the gallons.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that last night, this wicked, insensitive government imposed about 4 cedis to 4 cedi 50 pesos. 4 cedi 50 pesos. On every gallon,
400% increase.
On every gallon of fuel that we buy. That is fact. You see, we find ourselves in a situation where we're saddled. And we simply have on our hands, or we have a clueless, everlasting, incompetent bunch of arrogant braggarts who have just come themselves into power. I told you here the last time, and he's had 17 minutes of unhindered preaching. And I pray he gives me that. So please take note of the time. We prefer to stay on the NDC and the fiduciary relationship they've built with the Ghanaian people. I will not even go into their history. We have a finance minister who talks so much, and at this vetting was asked, all these things you are saying, you are surely going to have revenue shortfalls. And there are issues in this country that need to be dealt with. How are you going to be able to raise revenue to deal with these things and make sure that the Ghanaian people don't suffer for it? And Doomsor was one of the things that were brought up. This is his response. And I'll simply quote what he said. He said that we don't need more taxes to raise revenue. That's the finance minister.
But why are you quoting this one?
Enjoy online.
Right.
January 13th, 2025. And I watched it. The video is also here. I can give it to you to play. It was at his vetting. Then he goes on to give us a long lecture about the number of years of experience he's had in public affairs, in the economy of this country, and how he believes that we don't need more taxes to be able to raise revenue, and that he and his government were going to raise the needed revenue to do all the things they promised. I remember his vetting. His vetting was one of the vettings that I sat down to really, consume. And this one really gave us a very long lecture and told us that he doesn't think, there is no way he was going to even go into the issue of taxes. And that he rather thinks that we should remove all the taxes he called nuisance taxes. And that even if all those taxes are removed, and I remember correctly, that the minority asked him that digital venture is the future. And e-levy is only the base, starting to try and ensure that when we get to the future, we'll be ready. And so if you remove this e-levy and all of its revenue gap that you're going to have, how are you going to deal with it? He said, no, forget it. I remember again correctly that Afenyo Markins put it to him that from what you have done, you are surely going to introduce new taxes. He said, no, you and your party were incompetent. And that is why you had those taxes. And we would run this economy, run this country, fulfill all our promises without introducing any new tax. I am hurt this morning. I am pained. I am really, really pained. I am sad. There is no gravest offense in this world than betrayal of trust. None. None in this world, no sin in this world beats betrayal of trust. That people entrust their lives and their future in your care, believing that you will live at least up to your own words. Forget eventualities. Forget things that will come along the line, but what you told them. Then we wake up 5 months into your tenure. You come and tell us that you have brought the burden of Ghanaians down. That is what he's saying. That he has brought the burden of Ghanaians down. And so we should, in the words of the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, Honorable, we should accept just 1 cedi. He calls it 1 cedi per. 1 cedi per. That's what he calls it. That's what he says we should give them. To fix a situation that was not there until they came. To fix a situation that was not there until they came to office. 8 years of the MPP in government. This country had stable power for 8 years, irrespective of what the challenges could be at the time. Irrespective of what the situation was, there was power. 8 years. We had crisis for 8 weeks. What burden has been reduced, Nana? What burden? Today, we buy cement, a bag of cement that used to sell between 85 cedis to 90 cedis. We buy it for 130 cedis. That is the burden they have reduced. Today, tomatoes that was selling for 2 for 5 cedi is selling for 1 for 10 cedis. That is the burden they have reduced. And he tells us that he reduced burden. Burden has gone down. And so everybody is doing well in this country. All your viewers watching, this country is doing fantastically well. When you and I know that in this country, it is not the dollar to cedi exchange rate that impacts the things we buy on our market. You and I know. It is the fuel pricing. Why are you doing this to us? Why? When I call this government a scam government, a settings and packaging government, this is what I mean. They knew from the get-go that the things they were doing were just facade to let the Ghanaian people feel that they have brought some miracles into this country and that they are removing taxes and still they'll be able to do the things. They knew. They knew that in the month of May, getting into June, they were going to introduce taxes to make up for the shortfalls. Otherwise, what sense is there for you to come and tell us that e-levy, which is 1%, so if you buy anything at 100 cedis by choice, if you decide to use electronic transfer by choice, you pay how much? 1 cedi.
1 cedi.
You tell us that it is a burden, it's a nuisance tax. Remember, not every Ghanaian needs to use electronic transaction. You have to choose. You can decide to work and go, you don't pay. You call it a nuisance. And then you say, you are removing it, we should praise you. Then you remove a tax that was not even in force. Emission tax that was not even in force. You say, we should clap for you. Then, what is the other tax they remove? Betting tax. That is not even being utilized or consumed by even 1% of the population. How many Ghanaians in this country watching you, who killed to vote for you, actually engage in betting, let alone be affected or impacted by betting tax? We should clap for you. Then 2 months down the line, 2 months down the line after asking us to clap for you for removing taxes that do not have so much impact on us, especially betting tax and emission tax, you come and introduce 4 cedis per gallon of fuel that we buy, and you tell us it's just 4 cedis. And that it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Did emission tax matter? Was it a big deal? Did you ever pay emission tax? Did he ever pay betting tax in his life? But he was making noise and screaming over it. Why do you betray the trust of people in this manner? Why? Why do you betray the trust of people in this manner? Then he tells us, oh no, it's 3.7 billion that we have to, debt that we have to pay. And this is debt saddled on us by the MPP government. You left 2.5 billion debt in the energy sector. 2.5 billion debt. That is how much you left in the energy sector.
And you increased it.
8 years, we sat with a 2.5 billion debt and still kept power on. Without increasing any taxes on the Ghanaian people to buy fuel for the energy sector. Why do you do this to the people? Then you come and tell us that, they should tell us for 8 years, they didn't do any investment in the energy sector. They didn't do anything capacity. Absolute falsehood.
Did you?
In the year 2017, we added 603 megawatts of power. Capacity installed. AXA 188, Asogli 180, Car Powership 235. In 2018, we installed 490, AXA Phase 2 110, Send Power 360, Me Energy 20. In 2019, we installed TT2PP 7, Amandi 203, Jensa 29. In 2020, Early Power installed 144. We Solar was introduced 10. VRA Solar 7.5, and then another one Chachadru Hydro that gave us 161 in 2020. In 2021, Damine Jensa that gave us 28. We Solar added 41. VRA Solar added 10, that was 79. In 2023, VRA Solar Kalio Phase 2 added 15. B Power Floating added 4, that was 19 in 2023. And then in 2024, Early Power added 56. So you see, if you come and sit on TV and
You won't correct him.
you make these plays, you had 17 minutes of uninterrupted. You can make your correction when you get a chance. And then you make such, falsehood, complete falsehood.
Yeah.
It's sad.